a correct meaning.
How to justify?
He said that you said in the talk.
Yes. For those in material consciousness, they distinguish like that. They always feel that their own material desires are justified and normal, and the problems in the world are caused by others. So they're always looking at others and putting the blame there without looking at their own self. But when you refer to persons who have gathered here, obviously they're not ordinary persons. So much so that whether they have a little money or countless monies, if they are using what they have in Krishna's service, they are a different kind of person altogether. And even they may not have yet progressed to that level of bhakti, but just by thinking to do this or considering the possibility, they're also very special persons. All right?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have a question that Hare Krishna. So when I deal with my colleagues who are from different religions, so I want to tell them about our religions or about Krishna. So they try to ignore the thing that he is a supreme personality of Godhead. So how to deal with such person? Because I want to tell him about that he is about Krishna. I want to tell him. So how do I tell them that they ignore me? I don't want that. Krishna should be ignored. So how should I deal with them?
I already spoke. I already spoke.
Has anyone else ever had that experience? When Srila Prabhupada came to the Lower East Side of New York, practically not a single person even heard the word Krishna before. Srila Prabhupada had two qualities that were very convincing. One is he really, really deeply cared to give this gift of Krishna to us. And he had conviction. To the degree we actually really understand and experience Krishna, we understand the value of who Krishna is. And then it's not just a ritual trying to convince somebody, but it's a deep, it's our compassion for them, our love for Krishna and Prabhupada. We want to share this most valuable jewel of Krishna with them. And if we have that understanding, that conviction, that compassion, then Krishna empowers us to speak in a way that we could actually reach their hearts. Somehow or other, to connect them with Krishna. Sometimes Prabhupada would just make that connection by giving someone a gulab jamun. And saying, please come back. In so many words, he was saying, I love you. Here's my love in the form of a gulab jamun. And their hearts would open to think, oh, he's such a wonderful man, I want to understand what he means. And then when the philosophy actually came, their hearts were open. So we have to open people's hearts by our love, by our kindness. And then we have to present the truth with the power of the truth behind it by simply presenting it as it is. And that combination actually works miracles. Does that kind of answer your question? Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is question to Malti Devi Mataji. Mataji, you are saying about enthusiasm, determination and patience for getting success in spiritual life. But somehow or other we are getting these things only in material concept. Whenever we are trying to achieve some material success, we have enthusiasm, determination. But when we try to engage the same thing in spiritual life, we are thinking that this thing is decreasing. So how you are able to maintain this much enthusiasm for your whole life and serving Prabhupada? So please kindly enlighten us with your experience and your determination about that.
Hare Krishna. Srila Radhanath Maharaj used the word conviction in wanting to share Krishna consciousness with others. You must be convinced. And in wanting to remain determined, enthusiastic, and patient, you must also be convinced. Srila Prabhupada would often make this remark, so are you convinced? He would present some argument and he said, so are you convinced? All the devotees would go, Jai Prabhupada, and he said, then do it. But there has to be the determination, and it has to be uninterrupted. Just like we understand devotional service is uninterrupted and unmotivated, but we need some motivation in the initial endeavor. And for many people that motivation is simply some relief from the material frustration and anxiety. But even that will not keep you in line unless you get some taste for Krishna consciousness. And Krishna alone can award that taste. I was reading one small purport from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and in that Prabhupada expressed, in order to get Krishna's mercy, one has to serve Krishna with affection. We can serve Krishna out of duty or with awe and veneration, but it doesn't have the effect as serving Krishna with affection. So somehow or other, if you can make, in your beginning stages of Krishna consciousness, some attempt at affectionate service for Krishna, you will receive some reciprocation in the form of Krishna's mercy, and that will give you further impetus to remain determined, to remain enthusiastic, and to remain patient, not expecting overnight miracle. Although in fact, it is an overnight miracle. Anytime we chant the holy name, there is an effect, whether or not we perceive it. Hare Krishna.
Haribol Prabhuji. Actually, you said mode of ignorance and passion, they cannot be neglected. But can you set some unique example for that?
Can you explain, please? Mode of passion and mode of ignorance cannot be neglected? I was explaining how the standard, unfortunately, for the world today is basically passion and ignorance. Passion means intense striving for material goals, which inevitably will lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, anger, wrath, and to seek relief from material frustration. What the world offers is intoxication, which is the mode of ignorance. So basically, in a nutshell, unfortunately, that is the predominant current of the world. After all, this is Kali Yuga. So once you understand that that is the general thrust of the material setting today, you begin to wonder, aren't I meant for something better than that? And indeed, people are starting to wonder. They can't find a way, a satisfactory way out of the world's economic problems, for example. There's no room for more growth, for more economic growth. But without economic growth, how can society as it's known go on? And as I explained, or tried to explain, even if there is unlimited, even if there are unlimited resources in the world for consumption, and even if there's unlimited room in the world to dispose of the waste from the consumption, so that means everyone could just desire, want, get. Even if they could do that, they still wouldn't be satisfied. So many persons are starting to understand that. But what is the alternative? One famous economist at Columbia University is proposing that since the world cannot handle any more economic expansion without destroying itself, we need that people, he was speaking particularly about the USA, we need people to develop virtues again, virtues of moderation, cooperation, compassion. So then his critics asked him, well, your economics are brilliant, but can you please tell us how the people are supposed to suddenly develop compassion, cooperation, moderation? And he just admitted, that's not my department. So people are starting to ask such questions. Where do the ethics come from? Another famous economist said that basically the economic issues facing humanity today are moral issues. And economists don't know how to deal with that. So many persons are starting to look in the right direction. They've seen that the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, civilization is destructive of the individual. The number 2 disease in the world is now mental depression, right behind heart disease. So people are looking at the environment, they're looking at the state of the mind, they're looking at the social fabric of society, and they're wondering what will put things into another direction. So there are persons who are considering such things. And indeed, just look at all the new faces that came tonight for the first time to this Prerana festival. They're coming because they're looking for something higher. They want something better in their life than just the passion and ignorance. So they're voting with their feet. They're coming here. And they're hearing. And who can say what their future will be? So there are things happening in a positive way in this world. And of course, Krishna is the supreme positive. In bhakti, everything is positive and possible. All right?
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Maharaj. I wanted to ask that, sometimes it is seen in the devotee's life that devotion after a couple of years or 3 years, it gets stagnant or choked up. So, it is and you have asked us to consider this life, I mean the devotional life, to fulfill.
Can you kindly raise your hand, please? Who's speaking?
To fulfill the inner self, that is what you asked us to consider, this kind of life, devotional life. So, even in the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, it is seen that Krishna asked, Lord Chaitanya said that people's life getting flooded with the ocean of love and everything, but it's practically very difficult to see in a person's life how it is practically happening, because it is very difficult to see. So my question is when we have to consider this kind of life, after seeing this experience in other devotees' life, how do we consider it?
It sounds like the question is concerned with the possibility that after a few years of investing in devotional service, things won't turn out the way that you hoped, and your situation will start to feel stale and diminishing. Am I understanding your question? Everything we do in life, whether material or spiritual, involves proper technique and proper guidance. Even if you want to have some material goal, you try to get the best guidance that's out there. And you make sure that your approach, your technique is correct. The same principles are there in spiritual life. Service to Krishna, the Krishna conscious career, is nothing ordinary, of course. This career requires guidance so that our technique is proper. If we plug into the wisdom culture that offers guidance, tutelage, on-the-job training, then our bhakti efforts are certain to remain free from the perception of staleness and withering and diminishing. Withering, diminishing, staleness are material qualities. If we have proper guidance, and proper guidance is the greatest luxury. If you are part of a community, a spiritual community that offers guidance, you can consider yourself to be very wealthy. And if you take advantage of that guidance, your bhakti development will remain on track. So this paranoia is legitimate. This fear is legitimate, but It's based on not yet fully realizing the advantages that Krishna will provide you. The wealth of guidance that Krishna will make available. By tapping into that wealth, that wisdom culture, the guidance, the luxurious guidance, you can pass over all those possible obstacles of material consciousness. Okay?
Hare Krishna. So let us express our deepest and sincerest gratitude to His Holiness Devamrita Swami Maharaj and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, Her Grace Malti Devi Prabhu. Let us express our deepest gratitude to all of them. All of them are traveling to Tirupati tomorrow